Bourbon Night. Hello, I'm Chad.
I'm Sarah.
Sarah, we have a new bottle on the table. Love it when that happens. What do we have?
We have Green River Bourbon.
Green River Bourbon. I love a comeback story, and that's what this is all about. But first, pause for cork pop.
Wait, Chad,
And also...
that was faster than normal.
I know. Well, I wanted to say, this is our 201st uncorking, and we're going to be doing things a little bit different now. From 1 to 200, we always opened it for the very first time here to get that initial first impression. Now we're going to do things a little differently. We, can be drinking things that have opened up in the bottle or we've had open for a while.
We do hear some of figure feedback of maybe give it a week or two after you've had the first pour.
And we used to follow up with that on live shows 2 weeks later or whatever. But figure now, if we get it, we want to go ahead and taste it and open it and then share this review with you. We shouldn't let that hold us back.
Okay.
So from here on out, it's a new age of uncorking.
Oh,
so
feels like you're growing up or something.
Actually, why don't you pour us, Sarah, because...
Are we in an alternate dimension?
I've got some
We've
info.
slipped through the multiverse.
I know. Want to kind of tell you why this is a comeback story. So here's a quick sort of history of this distillery. So Green River Distillery was built in 1885, burnt down in 1918.
No.
Rebuilt in 1936 after
Yay.
Prohibition. 1940, it was purchased by the Medley family, which produced bourbons under the Charles Medley distillery. That closed in the 80s, I believe. I think it was sold in, conflicting information whether it was the 80s or 1993.
You see the medley stuff out now, so it definitely came back.
Well, yeah, that came back. But I'm talking about at this distillery. So the property sold in 2007. 2016, it opened it as OZ Tyler Distillery. 2018, it became part of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And then 2020 is when it returned to its original name, Green River Distillery. So that is the comeback story.
That's some history.
That's the big comeback story. Here's the much, much smaller comeback story. We tried OZ Tyler. We did a review of it. We did not enjoy it in the least. We don't often talk about what's back there in our cabinet. We call it the misfit bourbons or misfit whiskeys. Sort of like the Island of Misfit toys, right? But that's one that's in there, the OZ Tyler.
Yeah.
It's in there.
It wasn't a fun day that we tried that.
I think it was just that rapid aging,
That's what I
pure
mean.
process.
It's not for us.
Yeah.
It's not for us at all.
Not for us. But that also goes to show you, because we'd heard back in 2020, we just heard the headline, OZ Tyler has changed their name to Green River, sort of thinking, they're just trying to get away from maybe some less than favorable reviews.
Yeah, a brand refresh.
But we've been hearing really good things about this, and we'll see here in a second, but it just goes to show you, don't judge a book by its cover. We'd almost written off that distillery eh.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe it's not always the best idea to write off a distillery forever. Let's check back in with them and see what they're doing. So yeah, it is exciting to see them kind of take a new direction with this stuff, not the TerraPure format.
Yes. So this is a 5+ year bourbon that they have made there on the grounds, just like they did back in 1885.
And isn't their master distiller
He's an eighth generation.
Eighth generation, yeah.
Sure is. He's from Bardstown.
Wow.
This distillery is in Owensboro, Kentucky, and this mash bill of this 90 proof bourbon is 70% corn, 21% winter rye, and 9% malted barley. So it's a higher rye bourbon.
That makes sense though, because I get a lot of corn on the nose, but then I was like, it smells like rye, but it's different. Yeah, that's nice. It's like a softer rye.
It almost does smell like a rye whiskey in a way, that it sort of has the effervescence or the winter mint type of nose going on. Okay, to your health. Okay.
I need to think about this one for a minute.
Yeah.
Initially, I'm not blown away, right? But, this is a fairly affordable MSRP. So, I don't expect to be blown away necessarily.
What is that? Relatively affordable MSRP.
$34.99.
Thank you.
Which, I expected to be good. I expect, to feel like I got a little value for that price. But I'm not expecting this to be this is going in the best of the year contention.
Sure.
But that was my first impression was
right.
Okay, that's pretty solid. I mean, it's definitely flavorful.
Yes.
That rye spice is very present, I think. especially towards the finish. There is, what's the word? I don't want to call it a bite because I think people like associate that with burn, and there is no burn, but there is a bite from the spice. Like that's what's lingering on my tongue on the finishes.
Yeah.
Some of that effervescence and like a cinnamon and pepper.
And it's a dry spice.
At first I was like, oh, the mouthfeel is pretty good. You know, like I said, it's not lacking flavor. It is just, yeah, it's got a lot of like that spice heat.
Yeah, cinnamon stick is
more than a
sort
ground.
of what I was, cinnamon stick and like black pepper. Not overly sweet at all.
No, for $35, like I could also see this going really well in a cocktail because I think
getting ready to say that myself.
Yeah, I like how the spice is. I feel like it would come through really well in a cocktail.
Yeah, maybe we both came to that conclusion because maybe we're wanting a little bit of brightness.
I think so. Yeah.
You know, a citrus element would introduce into like, you know, an old fashioned.
Totally.
Because that is sort of what it's missing here. It's missing a brightness, but it's completely like what you're in the mood for.
Right.
And I'll tell you the imagery that it sort of dredged up for me, Sarah, and maybe it's just because this bottle is shaped like a horseshoe. It has the embossed horseshoe down here. It's got a horseshoe here, but...
So horses.
Horses, yeah, like barn, dry wood, hay. Not in a bad way, but that's sort of the imagery that sort of, you know, that came up for me. It was like a little bit of woods because it has that rye, so a little bit of evergreen.
Yeah.
But just like earthy, I guess, is what I'm going for. Earthy, dust, dirt.
This
earth.
feels like one of those like association, like, are we in therapy or are you just gonna start like, what comes to your mind when I say these words?
Green River.
Green River, right? I mean, I kind of am with you. Like when I picture a scenario around this bottle, it would be not necessarily camping, like being by a fire, but like, you know, if you're out all day in the woods and it's cold and, you know, there's, again, like you said, evergreens and maybe it's snowing a little bit. And this like feels like what you would want with that spice and that warmth.
I'm picturing drinking it out of a tin cup.
Fair enough.
That type of thing. And you're cooking beans over a fire.
I knew that you were going to say that.
Okay, well, while we let this third sip kind of settle in our tongues, we want to take a pause and tell you about our home on the internet. It's whiskyambitions.com. It's where you can get the Glencairns that we're drinking from. We also have Copitas and rocks glasses, water glasses, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, candles, challenge coins, and more always coming soon at whiskyambitions.com.
You can become a patron at patreon.com/itsbourbonnight and join our community for as little as $1 a month. That is where we do our Patreon exclusive barrel picks and the opportunity to participate in those barrel picks after the episode exclusives, like another round with Chad and Sarah, and more.
As far as its availability, right now, as far as in stores, it's going to be Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, Indiana, and parts of Florida. I would imagine that expanding as this rolls out. And of course, you know, available here and there online, but you can also check their website. I think they have a store finder on there. You know, this is definitely, I feel like it's a mood bourbon.
Definitely. Like, it's not something that I would be in the mood for every single day. Or, I mean, it would definitely, I think this one's going to be more seasonal for me. I don't see me drinking this in June or July.
Yeah, not a hot weather bourbon.
No, it drinks more like a rye.
It does.
If I'm being perfectly honest. So if you're someone who is not into ryes, I don't think that this one is for you. It does drink more like a low rye, like a barely legal rye. So yeah, for me, it's going to be more of a fall winter pour. Like I said, I think it would go nicely in a cocktail. It would cut through any sweetness. Like you said, pair really well with like a citrus pop.
Yeah, that's sort of the only thing that I'm missing here is a little bit of balance. I guess it's a little unbalanced, more into the heavy, darker oak and spice side of things. I'd like to see a little bit of citrus kind of cropping up here and there to sort of balance it out a little bit more. But that just means it puts it more in either if you are always in that flavor profile, if that's like your profile, then boom, this one is for you all the time. Or if it's more just a mood thing like it would be for us, then that's what we're gonna reach for it. So I can't really complain about it not having citrus. Like if everything was completely well-rounded, then there wouldn't be interesting bourbons out there, right?
Right, and I mean, especially at this price point, like under $40, like you can't have all your boxes checked and still have something be under $40. And I assume that they eventually want it to be readily available, right? It seems like a product at 90 proof, at under $40, 5 years old, like that they would intend for it to eventually be readily available. So you can't have it all.
In some bourbons you can.
You know, I guess I can think of other bourbons and barely legal ryes and things like around this price point that I might reach for first. But overall, I mean, I think the quality is good. I'm really excited to see them go in this direction. And I could see me drinking this like during certain times of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you, like I said, I'd recommend it if you are open to ryes, if you're into that flavor profile, then I think that this is for you. If you really like sweeter, more caramely bourbons, I'd say this one's not for you.
I mean, I think for $35, it is a more unique flavor profile than, you know, could name a dozen 90 proofers that this is just different from. So
Yeah.
I think for that fact, I also give it the recommend.
And yeah, if you're looking to explore, like still in that 90 proof area, still in that under $40 mark, but you want to explore some new flavors, also for you.
There you go. Well, hey, that's where we'll leave it. If you haven't subscribed to us already, what you waiting for? You can do so by clicking right up here. The suggestions of other videos right down here, and we hope to see you over there in one of those. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Chad.
Okay, until next time, drink more bourbon.